Welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Before we get there, you're going to see the two lions on your right and your left. Other lions are our animals, right? Yes. Because also in our coat of arms. And below the lions is our anthem. Really? And in English. Okay. Once you unveil that,
Who are you?
without police, then that's the work.
Hamjambo wazee. Jambo. Mama, habari yako? Habari yako mama. Asante. Yes, thank you, sir. Pongezi sana. Thank you, sir. Live it up. Yeah? I don't know them well. Eh? Hongera, hongera. Pongezi sana. Eh? Umetoka vile ilikuwa.
Excellency, sir,
Yeah?
it's now ready.
Congratulations,
Thank
my
you,
friend.
sir. And I promise you that I will deliver, sir.
And you have.
Yes, sir. Out of 9 months, they have worked in God.
Well done.
And they have worked with that team.
Exactly.
And we are able to do this one.
We shall get together.
Thank you, sir. Hata mimi nimeshukuru sana. Niwewe kutengenezea sio wa familia
Ndio.
na tunakuomba uendelee hivyo hivyo.
Asante sana.
Lakini tungeuliza tu tafadhali, katika hii wakati yako unaitwa mwana mimi mtoto wa mama, sasa ikiwezekana tu kwa unyenyekevu tutolee baba yetu kamiti tafadhali.
Naendelea kuhakikisha itawezekana.
Itawezekana. Thank you.
Ndio itatoka hiyo kama full hivi ya mwisho clear.
Sawa.
Your Excellencies, my name is Colonel I am the Director of Uhuru Garden National Monument. Sir, I am about to give you a brief, basically just an orientation of what we are and what we are going to do. Excellency, Uhuru Garden National Monument is a project on a 64-acre piece of land. It is aimed at keeping our historical, artistic, and cultural artifacts here, and also for exhibition. So, our purpose of being is as Kenya's cultural heritage repository. So, this project has got several built-in galleries, as well as facilities for recreation. Excellency, you recall that barely 21 months ago, on the 4th of August 2020, you did the groundbreaking here. Excellency, the aim of this is to appraise and your distinct dedication on what this museum is all about. Excellency, that's my scope. That's our vision. As a corporate, we take it that it is our vision to keep our history and culture based on the mission, that is to preserve, research, and showcase this posterity. So that's our core idea. Going further, I'll give you an overview of where we are. Excellency, we just come to 1 and 3. We come through 1 and 3, the whole of arrival. Right now we are at the whole of witness. We are just about to get into the panel of matters. Excellency, we go all the way up to the water feature. You see once you finish your tour of the gallery. Then we go to the police station. Number 7, we go to Mzee Chaveli House. Finally, we finish with Mzee's library. Then we request that we visit the tomb of the Ahmad warrior, where we also light the indoor. Finally, we'll visit the restaurant. As a way of orientation, we just came through the whole of Bible, where you need to cite for us the book of Israel. Let's see, now we are in the hall of witness, and this is designed as its own gallery as well, to be able to orientate the visitor once they come in onto what they can expect. So inside here we have very, very galleries. So which one would attract the visitor will be given here and what is on their itinerary. Excellency, the gallery of matter which we are going to get into is the first production that gives honor our came along with us and enabled us to be today independent and celebrate what we are doing today. We have got 3 permanent divisions for you today. I begin with the peoples of Kenya, that which gives us meaning and a sense of belonging. Secondly, we'll visit the path of Kenya and then the military gallery. Excellency, the exterior spaces within these facilities are the water feature, the tourist station, which is basically an extension of the part of Kenya outside. Then we have the Kenyatta house, which was brought here as was in Gator. Then we have the Kumu trees. Going further, we have now the legacy of Mzee in the library, tomb of the unknown warrior, and restaurants. Excellency, just to highlight a few milestones, we were able to collect 12,300 different artifacts from our peoples across the country with the help of the National Museums of Kenya. These ones span both 2D references and 3D objects. Those have formed the basis of what you have witnessed in the gallery. Also, we did up to 40 different audio-visual interviews, right from the Mamaboga Institute, those who were Akuna Majanichai, all the way retired generals and retired chief justices. Excellency, with the guidance and directive, we were able to post Jamhuri Day on 12th of December 2021 on this very ground. Excellency, just last Saturday, you were here to grace the airship, which was attended by up to 75,000 Kenyans. It was an occasion quite fitting. Excellency, may I now take you to the celebration? We will begin from where we are, then we will turn to my right, Uncle of Matthias, people of Kenya, then we will go to the heritage and finish back to the tunnel of Matthias, the tube station, Shaweri, and then finish the tomb. Excellency, I put a quote here just to reflect, having unveiled our lions, I thought that indeed until the lion learns how to write, every story will find the answer. Everyone in us is a lion of themselves. If we do not take hold of the pen, somebody else will capture us and tell our story as if we are villains. Especially, this is testimony that Kenyans are indeed taking up that pen and we want to write our story. And then finally, I want to just take a few minutes to orientate you to our logo. This is the Uhuru Gardens logo. We have that motif of the Mukumo tree. The Africa is the branches right in the trunk. Then the green is the motif of the branches. This is where we got our independence, and also where the first motif was planted. That motif here is here captured. But most importantly, is the shield in the middle of it, which is in my coat of arms here, and also forms an inspiration around the whole main museum. Forget it. Those who have come before us and lost their lives to give us a foundation. Excellency, on your right, we begin with those who were in the First World War. You see the names, the dates 1917. Out of that, they were taken by the British to go and fight into a war they did not know anything about. But for their valor and bravery, they were able now to have a name as people who are brave and can be trusted. Same thing, sir, to your left. The thematic plan of this is to begin from the First World War, the Second World War here, then now as you transition down towards the Mau Mau. But most importantly, the tunnel is a metaphor that you're going through some dark period, but there's some light in the horizon. This 72-meter walk is to prepare you, as you honor the martyrs, that they need some hope and their loss is not a loss in vain. Definitely, we have about 2,900 days. Excellency, I request we take a left turn and prepare to go to the People's of Kenya Gallery. This way, please. Excellency, this gallery, all the People's of Kenya, in all their manifestations. Now we begin here to the left. We have the prehistoric animals which were picked from Kenya. This one came from the Turkana Basin as well as the worldwide stone. Then we have stone tools from the Lomiekian period. It also shows that those who lived before us had an idea of toolwork. And those are, this is the famous Turkana boy.
Yes.
From Turkana Basin. This is the motif of our fire, the fellow making tools out of iron. To your left, you see a screen, which will always show different attributes of capture the audio visual.
this building was then designated to be the offices for the district commissioner who arrested Mikatini together with some of these heroes whose history we are now tracking. Some of the statements were recorded in this building. She was arrested on, I think, about 17th or so, November 1930. And within a week, she was already in Kisi. A week or two. So this is 2 years later. They then actually disappeared and actually missing for several months. And strangely, they find their way back here. So you look through the history, I mean, the exact date of birth is not known. But it's suspected that it's anything between 1840 and 1860. So this would mean that by the time she's being arrested, she's anything between 50 and 60 years old. We couldn't to know that we need to investigate this further.
Let's see, we begin with this pillar to the left, where we celebrate our pastoralism. A lot of people still are harder. Here and speak to cattle herding, and below are containers, vessels for milk, for ghee, for butter, and all that comes from the cow, including milk. Then now we come to those who feed the land, the farmers. See they are blue and wet. And of course when you till, you also do some small harvesting, as they shown there. So the fisher folk also do quite some business, and this is the tools they use in their fishing. This is from the Pokom, down the river, and then the fish collects, also the fishing nets. Excellency, we have got tips here. We talk about leadership and the different symbols that speak into that. That spear is not fighting, it's a symbol of authority. Excellency, your famous military ensign is hereby installed and fully installed. Excellency, we go into a document, also called a pambo, and the people are known for their beadworks. Very good beadworks, we also speak to their artists. All these beads have meanings. Now this is a Samburu one, very intricate finish. This one is made out of the tail of a giraffe. Very intricate gift from a Moran to the lady he wants to get killed. Let's say you see a tunic from Kenya. You go along, you will see the influences from Ethiopia with backdress from the Gabra community. Let's see, finally you have a bride. She looks like she's Indian, Pakistani, Asian. This is from the Baluchi of Mombasa. The Baluchi are a sub-tribe that came all the way as soldiers to Said and Zimbabwe then. They made home in Mombasa and they've kept elements of their culture in this kind of moment. Obviously now we come to divination and attending. We have the format. Here we have the drum, we have the percussion, we have string instruments. Then we expose that with the normal, modern day guitar here below. Excellency, the accordion, which now plays Momboko, also came from the British, but has been owned now by other music players. Excellency, we now have the bow game. The bow game is a very intricate game, because it's both mathematical and practical.
You have this game?
Excellency, we come now to cuisine and nutrition. All the things that our beautiful country, part country, able to produce and sustain our life. Excellency, in different ways, they are prepared, preserved, and blended. It also includes influences from other regions like China, India, and Asia. Excellency, in front of you is a granary. because you cannot just keep eating without security. People knew that you must keep something for tomorrow. You are right. Is Shujaa story.
And they were stronger and braver than the ordinary person, while others had the ability to heal and see the future. This is the story of our Kenyan superheroes.
Being the strength and confidence to be able to lead a community, whether it's battle, whether it is when the colonialists came in, and also the ability of having maybe a supernatural power, something that no one else in that community has. People respect you are here for country.
We turn left, go right.
Weka tu polepole, weka tu polepole. Watu ni naweka ile time apike. Ndio umeweka.
Relax. Unajua niko live. Okay. Hii kidole ishachoka hata ifanye kazi.
The fog of war is never clear. Here we celebrate the full spectrum of our defense concept. We have the military concept, we have the armor element, we have the infantry, we have the mechanized infantry, we have the air force. Let us see in front of you is the Kenyan defense concept in full splendor. Right from our battle to our air. The state here is large. The Kenyan army, the Kenyan army, the Kenyan force. Fully starched, well turned out. This weapon was captured by Captain Rifle from the Germans on the Arusha-Salaita axis during the First World War. Definitely, the panel in front of you celebrates the Second World War, 1909-45. The 5th Rifle, the 11th Rifle, and their story there. Again, the fog of war, the pain of war. Let's see, as we go further, we have the turnout and bearing of the African soldiers and what they have won during those times. Excellency, now introduce our warrior culture, the battle culture that saw our people being able to resist the white man. So this showcase speaks to the age-set system which endured, which informed that we had soldiers and warriors all time, a kind of fourth generation influence. Further ahead, you have command and leadership. Here we have simulated an elder who is actually a leader. You can see from his flavis. The flavis is made out of the tail of a wildebeest, and his kofia is made out of the skin of a Clovis monkey. Excellency, here we talk about the conduct of war, and we have the different items that we use to fight. Excellency, if I was fighting my neighbor and he just crossed onto my land for some reason, I would never carry a big weapon. I'd just carry a long one and tell him, look, so it just shows the conduct of war and how we're able to both defend and offense. Further, we have the different tactics employed. Depending on the enemy and the quantum, you will have bigger shields, smaller shields, wider bladed spears, or thinner ones, depending on who you're fighting and where. Let us see, the showcase to your left speaks to technology. And here, it's not just the end product of the spear or the arrow, but the work begins with selecting the ore, the right ore that has got the right quantity of iron and quality that the craftsman would use to then produce all these tools. We take now a transition, and I introduce you now to the modern KDM. Let's see, to begin with the Kenya Army. What we're seeing here are old weapons from our old doctrines, and we begin, Excellency, with what is here to my left. This used to be the most secure, more than any iPhone, more than any other encrypt you could have. It's called a Moscow. It's not been protected by events, now we use encrypt. The thought of going back where we were, just to showcase where we've come from. This is Kenya Army parachutes. This is Kenya Army Starling for the officer then or before, 9mm. Excellency, before you go further to your life, Excellency, the life of an officer begins as a second lieutenant with only one thing. With discipline, endurance, education, training, and a bit of faith. You may get up there and be the only one to be able to carry the scimitar.
Yes.
The scimitar is only carried by the chief of the defense forces.
Yes.
Especially here we have the army, the air force, and the navy, and the journey how we can take you to get up the Excellency. And to your left, Excellency, we have our current commanders and CDF.
Very good.
Your left, Excellency, is the Kenya Air Force Battle. Most important here, Excellency, is the contrast put here. Sir, this is a Martin Baker ejection seat, one of the most respected seats for ejection for fighter pilots. This one, you eject at zero level in the case of an emergency. And let's see, covering that frame on the flip side is a firefighter on wheels, fire fiction wheels. And let's see, you may fly at Mach 3, you may fly at level speed, but the smallest thing that man first invented, fire, can bring you down. So we take safety in the Air Force very, very seriously. So this is an anti-issue for the fighter pilots. Excellency, we finish this panel with the Kenya Navy, flanked to the left and right with 76 millimeters.
Yes.
All the way up to the Kenya Navy ship Mamba Boy and the Kenya Navy ship Simba Boy. Excellency, in the water, you can't be confined. So the only way you're confined, if you have a slight discretion, is with this. So you are restrained with it on your foot, so that you can't dive, and if you dive, you sink. So you are confined only to that ship. Excellency, this is a showcase now of our women in defense and what they do within the defense forces. Excellency, we have KDF in its budget internally, as sanctioned by Parliament from time to time, support. Excellency, this showcase displays shifter campaign. The first ever campaign went out of. Later on, we did have the Lineage campaign. What we're seeing here, Excellency, are weapons captured from the opposing forces. Just a few collections of our liquidation. Excellency, I request the light. You are shortly to give history in perspective. Very clever.
After 1 year of independence, the government, under the leadership of President Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya was formed under a small clique of British officers, and some Kenyans were recruited and trained basically like any others. We had not much. The little we have had was capable enough to us to deal with. I mean, the British who handed over us were good enough to organize and to build us in a proper system, and we never lost the momentum. It kept going with our little equipment, with our little facilities, and we picked it up. I think by 30 years of our independence, all the three services were existing. We built a power system. Whichever little we were, our recruitment, our training was up proper. And that's what product has brought what it is today. It's a system who was good enough, and it developed it today. It is, I think I retired almost 25 years ago. I know things have moved very, very well. Very
I think the challenge today is enormous because, you know, there are lots of threats. It's not only, you know, dealing with an enemy which is very, very, you know, unpredictable. Warfare today in the region, in our country, and in Africa, or anywhere in the world is completely different. And, you know, the mode of dealing with such kind of, you know, challenge is probably, you know, 20-fold than my time. I remember when I went to the northeastern province, the soldiers, including myself, we were carrying, you know, weapons that were, if you talk about it today, like, you know, Mark IV was the rifle, the main fighting rifle. It's a rifle that, you know, you cock it once, and then you shoot, and then you cock it again, and then you shoot. Now you imagine when the shifters, they themselves, the shifters, had the Soviet, you know, weapons, which would, you know, shoot at us, you know. Well, we had this kind of thing. But anyway, you know, the army realized that we needed, you know, better weapons. I was very keen to be amongst the first officers and men who were chosen to, you know, go and train as paratroopers. I wanted to jump out of an aircraft, a serviceable aircraft. I wanted to go, if we were to be deployed against an enemy, to, you know, jump out of an aircraft and land behind the enemy lines and fight my way through and defeat the enemy. So that is what drove me and many others, you know, to join this elite then, you know, regiment. So we formed it right from the scratch. I enjoyed my time with the boys. We were all the time, you know, training. We were all the time, you know, going places. We were all the time, you know, jumping out of aircraft. It was interesting.
I really had no experience of military life at all. And so there you are.
All the way to our officer. Excellency, what we have here is short PT. Everybody, even officers, begin training like that, in shorts and pink tops with these shoes. As you graduate, gradually, into trousers, button order, and different boots. Excellency, the highest ranking in the army is a Lieutenant General, and here is how he will be turned out in red tunic. Excellency, in front of you is a medal display that Kenya has, but the highest medal of valor you can ever get is top left, Uhuru medal. Excellency, only 9 Kenyan Defense Forces personnel since inception have ever been awarded for this valor. Their names are enshrined where you will find them in the tomb of the unknown warrior, except the living one, General Mahmoud Mohammed. Yes. When he was a brigadier. Excellency, we go to the Air Force panel. Again, the replica of what you saw with the army, but now just showing the different clothes, attires for the Air Force over time. The key here is the flying suit that the student who goes to fly that aircraft begins from. They give him that flying suit and this pouch for students ab initio from the start. Let's see, the next panel is the Kenya Navy panel. Again, the same progression. The Navy usually is very well turned out in black or navy blue, and here it is. The different badges and signs that the Navy has in terms of skills, trades, and capabilities of both the men and the officers. Let's see, I request we turn to the left and see Kenya Defense Forces in peace support operations. Excellency, this speaks for itself. Where we've been, I will not allude because just 2 days ago we were celebrating the same. Correct. Excellency, we have KDM in national development. Again, from Benevat, right away to disaster management. Excellency, I will not put it down further because you know what you are able to give us. Excellency, when you're here, we want you to leave with the last post. Excellency, I request you stop for 2 minutes. Just celebrate and reflect on the last post. And they give their life, and they began there saying, we move with this idea. Correct. You live here, feel it in. That's own speakers. Yes. But they had other designs that they were unfolding as they came along. Yes, it is. And eventually you begin to see the time of them having a wreath. Let's see, that panel is a metaphor of what our current master had. This flag that the sun would never set in the British Empire. Let's see. Excellency, this is a pit for the sun. We are good. Excellency, go ahead. You see to your left the panel of Christians. Our people did not accept or agree with it. They made up effort to fight, to resist, because it was interfering with our lifestyle, with our peace and harmony. Let's see, one of the female warriors from Nandi, somewhere, did predict and have a strong fight against this. Let's see, part of his body is still in London. How this process is to repatriate that at the right time. Let's see, we have the lions. The lions, just observe, politically were our first freedom fighters. They also fought the white man against coming onto our land. Some very, very good, as the panel says, it was able to take out. Yeah. Excellency. That's sorry, but that's what happened. We have the Indian food metaphor there. When along the to your left, you see a replica of Medellin. She was also among those who really fought against the railway. Excellency, you find the hot bicycles coming along, opening up the tools which are used to fight this strong force. It's all they had. Let's see, any question on slides? Yeah. Excellency, the panel to your left. I'm telling on this thing we have running commentaries about this scheme.
That starts in 1901 left no doubt that the colonial government would go to any length to help their own achieve their desired goals. Despite the loss of land, the payment of tax meant that Africans would be compelled to work so as to earn cash for the levy or be subjected to forced labor. In this connection, African reserves became an easy target for the provision of cheap labor.
The Toronto is very much like an English country life in home. I mean, there's very little difference. Very little. We had our dogs and our horses and our friends. We entertained, we went about. The Africans were very friendly and willing to learn.
The panel point of view, now amplified that the name of our land is one most of it was export. Some people are able to think for themselves and are able to export so much. I think you
Enda ujiposition mahali.
Is there anybody else interested here? How are you doing, my friend?
President Uhuru Kenyatta is commissioning the Uhuru Gardens and National Monument and Museum here in the county of Nairobi. The Uhuru Gardens National Museum is going to be one of the biggest in the country. This is after major reconstruction was done at the Uhuru Gardens Museums and Grounds. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta made his way to the grounds at around 4 p.m. and he is now touring various galleries here at the National Museum at the Uhuru Gardens. This includes the People of Kenya Gallery, the Military Gallery, and water features besides Presidential Library. After this, he will be able to officiate a parade where he will pay respect in honor of the heroes and heroines of this country. Thereafter, he will be heading to the grounds where he is expected to make a brief address to the attendants. We have seen heroines making their way here to the Uhuru Gardens, and one of the legends, Mambo Mbotela, one of the veteran presenters in the media industry. We have also seen the wife to the late Mau Mau fighter, Dedan Kimathi. We have also seen quite a number of Mau Mau fighters making their way to the grounds. And at the grounds, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to light a tunnel flame, and there will be fireworks. This in respect of the heroes and the heroines at the Uhuru Gardens. Getting back to the history here at Uhuru Gardens, at some point you would not say that we will have the manicured lawns and the structures that have been put in place to what it has been today, and it was being put in place knowing so well that it's going to match the standards or even better standards of the Nairobi National Museum that we have along the Museum Road. Right now, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is making his way to the grounds where he is expected to address attendance at this event. We have seen quite a number of cabinet secretaries making their way to this commissioning of Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, including Sports and Culture Minister Amina Mohammed, and also Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa. And we have also seen the wife to the presidential aspirant under the Azimio la Umoja coalition, Aida Odinga, being one of the delegates here at the Uhuru Gardens. But then let me take down to history of the Uhuru Gardens. This as it's looking forward to be one of the largest memorial park, and it will be having rich history that will be of much benefit, especially to the children and the country at large. And Kenya got its independence from the British government, and the soil of Uhuru Gardens is said to be a consecration camp that inhumanly housed African freedom fighters and also part of the colonial government. And perhaps that is why the government thought of renewing this place, making it a better destination, not only for holding events, but also to help those people who will want to understand the history of Kenya on the benefits of having these grounds. And what do we have inside the new museum that is being commissioned today by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta? We are having the military gallery, where people will be going to understand when did the military come to place, and how has the machinery in the industry changed from one to another. Right now we are in the 21st century. Are we up to date? Those are some of the questions that many people will be asking whenever they visit the Uhuru Gardens Museum. Also, there is a train that was pulled from the railway station to the Uhuru Gardens Museum, perhaps to let those children, especially who will be interested in understanding the history of locomotives in the country up to where we are right now, and it will be very interesting for them and also a benefit to their growth in the education levels. Now, inside the museum, there will also be a tunnel of martyrs, the tomb of unknown warrior, the heroes of Mau Mau fighters who ensured that we got independence today, what we enjoy. And it's coming at a time that the Kenya Defense Forces hosted one of a kind air show in the country Saturday, and it's one that attracted many family members who wanted their children to understand and have an experience of the air show, one of the beautiful experiences ever being held here at the county of Nairobi. And the pictures on your screen right now are where we had guests and delegates seated before they made their way to the grounds where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is currently making his way to make an address before lighting the fireworks. And inside the gallery, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta was seemingly interested with the military gallery. This one, he gave it much attention, perhaps due to the steps he's made to ensure that the Kenya Defense Forces is where it is today, well equipped, and the machinery is up to date, one of the 21st century. These are the pictures on the screen from the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, and it is coming days to the Madaraka Day celebrations, where the country will be marking the 59th independence of self-rule. The celebrations will be held at this same point. Beautification exercise is underway. This as the military is taking charge of security and proper arrangements ahead of the celebrations tomorrow. We're expecting His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to be accompanied with counterparts from other parts of the world. Currently, this event is being accompanied by the Sierra Leone President, whom they have made their way here together. He unveiled the national museums here at Uhuru Gardens together with him, showcasing what the country is priding in, where we are today, the steps we have made as a country to ensure that we are in the 21st century in terms of development and growth, from infrastructure, which was showcased on the locomotives gallery and also the military gallery and also the airspace gallery, where there are various types of aeroplanes that were used during the times of colonialists up to date, where we are as a country. In a short while, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta will be addressing the nation as well as attendance at this event. This memorial, this national monument and museum is going to play a key role to the country, especially in the tourism sector, considering that the country is coming from a very tough time, one of the COVID-19, the effects and challenges that really affected the hospitality sector, and also the tourism stakeholders, both the brands in losing millions from the sector. But going forward, this will not only be open for the public, but any other visitor who would want to come and have a look at the museum and also perhaps enjoy the manicured lawns here at the Uhuru Gardens. And as the skies turn darker, it gets more beautiful owing to the lights that have been put here at the Uhuru Gardens, and water fountains around the museum would make one want to come back again and again. This is just a part of the Uhuru Gardens grounds, the podium where most of the events normally take place, and that is where we first had delegates seated before they made their way to the grounds, where we're expecting His Excellency also to officiate a parade which will be undertaken by the military before he makes an address. This ahead of the display of fireworks and acknowledging of the heroes and heroines. As I mentioned earlier, we have also seen one of the legends in the media industry, Leonard Mama Botella. We have seen the wife to the late Mama warrior, Dedan Kimathi, making their way here one by one. A number of cabinet secretaries made their way early enough before His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta made his way to this destination. Well, the pictures on the screen are coming to you live from the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. And back to the impact that these gardens will have to the country, not only to residents in the city, but also those ones outside the county. They'll be able to come and see these beautiful sculptures that have been put here, and we have been able to go through a documentary that was put together during the construction of this museum. One of very interesting piece on why they settled on Uhuru Gardens. We were able to see a narration by Mama Ngina Kenyatta saying that they used to have a home around this area, and it was very memorable and historic, especially for those people who are very active in the development of the country and ensuring unity in the country during that time, under the leadership of the founder of this country, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And it was not the only episode that we were able to see. The attendants at this event were also able to be showcased how the artifacts were put piece by piece to where it is today, one of the historic grounds that will be tomorrow hosting the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations. I would say milestones have been made not only in the tourism sector but also in the development agenda under the Big Four agenda of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. When he came to power, he had issues that he wants to prioritize. Besides health, he wanted to ensure better growth and improved development, especially on infrastructure, and also create employment. And this is one of the areas that hundreds of people will be able to get employment and also have livelihoods that will support other families back home. And a number of military officers are here at Uhuru Gardens are currently making arrangements on how we are going to showcase the evening bits of fireworks and the laying of the wreath by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. Right after this event, this place will be open to the public. They said that the public will be able to make their way during the initial days for free. And the picture, you could see the managing director, the acting managing director at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, also present at this event. The event is playing a very key role to the construction and development of the nation. KBC has the mandate to highlight the country as an ideal tourist destination and perhaps other agenda in line with development. And that is why a number of delegates are making their way here. The skies are turning dark. We're expecting the fireworks anytime from now, but this would proceed for some time because His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta currently is in a closed door session with a number of cabinet secretaries who made their way here early enough, together with the Kenya Defense Forces senior officers who are accompanying the president to this commissioning of the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. And anytime from now, after the meeting, the president will be able to address the attendance at this event. Key issues we're expecting him to talk of will be able to address the public on issues in regards to the benefits that the museum will bring, not only to the tourism industry but also to other stakeholders in other industries, considering that we also have the Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Amina Mohamed, who made her way here. We also have Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, who also made his way here early enough. And we're expecting His Excellency also to touch on issues that will expand the economy, considering that it's only 70 days to the next general election. Then he hands over power to the elected president during that time. So he could be keen on ensuring that he attains his mission for the country ahead of the general election. And just to take you back, what the event here is all about at the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta commissioned the grounds, and I can say he is making his way to the grounds where we're expecting fireworks to take place. That is His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta being accompanied with strong delegation. Remember, this is the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum being commissioned officially. Going forward from this day, Kenyans will be able to make their way and experience the products on culture, the products on wildlife, which are part and parcel of this museum. The vision of this museum, as earlier mentioned by one of the officers here from the Kenya Defense Forces, will be to be the central repository of Kenya's history and culture, and the mission will be to collect, preserve, research on not only on issues about Kenya but also across the borders, and showcase Kenya's history and culture to different communities, not only in Kenya but also those ones who took part in ensuring that we attain the self-rule. And core values will be integrity, innovativeness, accountability, and inclusiveness, bringing Kenyans together to ensure they are united to prosperity. Well, the pictures on your screen are coming live from the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum outside the grounds where we're expecting the celebrations of Madaraka Day to take place. We can see a number of students also here to witness this historic event where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is commissioning the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. It will be interesting, especially for the children during their outdoor activities, to come and experience and also see where the journey began for the country and where we are today. What are these developments that have been done? What are the setbacks that the country has gone through in attaining its independence? And here we are celebrating the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations tomorrow. We're expecting hundreds of students to make their way here. These are thousands of adults will also be making their way here to commemorate the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations. The pictures on your screen are for a number of visitors who have made their way to witness this event. Right there is where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta will be making his way to make an address, perhaps a brief one, considering that it was the commissioning of the National Monument and Museum that made this delegation to come this side of the city, and sector that is going to be to flourish, especially in the tourism concerns. One of the industries that was hard hit with the COVID-19 pandemic, millions lost their jobs. Several facilities were shut down, and this will just be one of the openings the government has come up with to ensure that the industry flourishes in line with the Big Four agenda. His Excellency there making his way to the grounds where he's expected to make an address. The Kenyan flag being hoisted up high. This as the commissioning of one of the historic national monuments and museums taking place here at the Uhuru Gardens in the county of Nairobi. A number of delegates have made their way here. Cabinet secretaries, county leaders, members of county assembly, and also the wife to the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate, Ida Odinga, has made her way here to the Uhuru Gardens. Mama Ngina Kenyatta is also here. And I would say this is probably what she wanted to see coming to reality, considering that she once had a house at this place, and she struggled together with the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the founder of this country, to ensure that we get independence and guide Kenya to the right direction. She is addressing His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and the counterpart to President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of Sierra Leone, Mama Ida Odinga, together with the delegation, making their way to what is expected to be the climax of this event after the commissioning of the monuments, the visitation at the galleries. This will be climaxed with fireworks and the laying of wreath at a tomb that is believed to be of a warrior before the independence of this country. The Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum being commissioned on this last day in the month of May, a day to the Madaraka Day celebrations. And it's not only the event that has taken place in the previous past. On Saturday we had an amazing air show held here. It was being led by the Kenya Defense Forces, showcasing their tactics, aerobatics in times of war, and what many Kenyans wanted to see in reality. Mama Ida Odinga, together with Mama Ngina, in the house that used to be a home for the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and the family, right here at Uhuru Gardens in the county of Nairobi. Mama Ngina was able earlier to show us the room that was meant for Mohoho and the sitting President Uhuru Kenyatta. She said one of the rooms was meant for the boys, the other room was meant for the girls. So the sister siblings of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta would occupy one of the rooms. And she's excited that finally the country has a place where the generation to come can learn of a history about the country, the warriors that fought for the independence of this country, and where they got the freedom they are enjoying today. Mama Ngina Kenyatta, together with the Sierra Leone president. There's pictures coming to you live from Uhuru Gardens, rekindling the memories that she had during her young days with the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, raising her siblings just like any other parents would do, and pushing for development and a memoir for the future generations. Where did we start from? How did we attain independence? Who was the first president of this country? What are the developments done to where we are today? Mama Ngina being accompanied by the Azimio la Umoja presidential aspirant's wife, Ida Odinga, here at the Uhuru Gardens in the county of Nairobi, after His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta commissioned the National Monument and Museum. An exciting experience, positive move for the country, not only to create employment, but also having one of the education centers, one of the biggest national museums for the country, and historic one under the tenure of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, considering that he only has 70 days in office. This as the country will be heading to the next general election. And he said during the National Prayer Day that he will be able to hand over power to the president-elect, the person the country has chosen, and he has always put the interests of Kenyans first. He urged Kenyans to be peaceful and ensure we conduct elections in a peaceful manner. This as we hope for a better future, better leadership. That is the motorcade for a number of delegates here. And right there is where we're expecting His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to go and lit the fireworks. But at the moment, he is at the house where he was raised up partly. This as the founder of this country, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, used to have a home in this part of the city. And Mama Aida Odinga is accompanying Mama Ngina Kenyatta in a tour where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is with his counterpart from Sierra Leone. And they are happy to see what has come to reality today. The commissioning of Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, one that has a military garden, one that has a military gallery, one that has manicured lawns, one that has a transport gallery, taking Kenyans back to where we started with the locomotives to where we are right now. And going forward, perhaps we'll be able to bring another one where we will be during that time in terms of transport. But a number of Kenyans that have been able to talk to during my stay here at the Uhuru Gardens, allowing developments being done by the sitting government. They have appreciated the infrastructure bit of development in the country. They have appreciated the improved environment for relaxation and also conservation, protecting the wildlife, which does not only bring money to the country, but also as a pride for the country. Remember, Kenya also prides in a number of the big five animals, not only on land, but also the big five in the water. And this will go down to history as one of the newest products in the tourism industry, creating job opportunities and a sight to behold, bringing more tourists to Kenya. And for this, in the county of Nairobi, a beautiful gallery, beautiful monument, a beautiful museum here in the county of Nairobi along the Langata Road. The picturesque at night is arguably beautiful. The lights are up. The flags are still being hoisted, perhaps due to the celebrations scheduled for tomorrow, which will be held here by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we're expecting thousands of people to make their way here, not only for the celebrations, but also to have an experience of what was commissioned today. We have a waterfront that is arguably beautiful, magical if is the word I would use. It has sculptures of wild animals, a symbol that the country preserves its environments and conserves the wildlife. And there we are, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, finally at the place. We expect him to make a brief address and also lay a wreath in memory of the heroes and heroines of this country the leaders who fought for the independence of this country, the leaders who guided us to the journey where we are today as a country. This coming a day to the celebration of the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations, which will be marked here, and His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who will be officiating that major event. Perhaps we're going to light the fireworks. There we go. His Excellency.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Just keep it on, sir.
Awesome. This morning, sir, the eternal flame continues to present the heroes who have fallen in the defense of our motherland, Your Excellency. And Pilgrim's presence also symbolizes the young heroes of our nation. Your Excellency, sir, we will now proceed to the change of the guard. We now proceed to the laying of the wreath. It is a great honor to be in the first ever wreath at this site, sir. Your Excellency, sir, will now proceed the change of the guard, which takes place immediately after the lighting of the wreath. I'm kindly requesting that you give some space for a guard that will be changing shortly. Let's kindly clear. Thank you very much.
You got shoulders up. All guard, Russell. Right, Russell. You got Russell. Press. All guard! Eyes front! You got eyes front! All guard! Breathe, set on! You got breathe, set up. All guard, shoulders up. You got shoulders up. All guard, slow on. All guard, move to the right. Invite. Right on. By the front! Quick march!
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The Guard will continue to keep watch at this storm. Your Excellency, sir, will now proceed to plant a ceremonial tree. For guests, we kindly request that we get into the Hall of Remembrance to await His Excellency. Your Excellency, sir. The hall is to my left.
You're welcome this way, please. Kindly. Karibuni. Karibuni, you're all welcome.
We hold on fast. We hold on fast. We hold on fast for a seat.
Nasema tupate tumekaa.
Just waiting here for you. This is where we are. We're all around here.
The commissioning of the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum underway at the Uhuru Gardens in the county of Nairobi. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has officiated a parade here at the Uhuru Gardens, which was being conducted by the Kenya Army. Thereafter, he planted a tree in memory of this special day, the commissioning of one of the historic Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. This coming a day to the celebrations of Madaraka Day. The country will be marking the 59th self-rule tomorrow, and the celebrations are expected to take place on this ground. It is important to note that these gardens played a key role in the independence of this country. The pictures on the screen are where the delegates are seated waiting for the address of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, who made his way to these grounds to commission the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, which was closed for reconstruction for about a year or so. And he is accompanied by his counterparts from Sierra Leone and also a number of delegates, right from the cabinet secretaries to national leaders. Mama Ngina Kenyatta is also present, the wife to Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Mama Aida Odinga is also present here. And this is going down to history as one of the best destination, especially for school-going children who have also made their way here from a number of institutions. The gardens were officially declared a national monument in 1966. This is because of their historical importance, and it is important to note that This Uhuru Gardens was Kenya's birthplace. This is where the first Kenyan flag was first raised, and thus making the very first year of independence in 1963. That was on 12th of December 1963. And tomorrow we will be celebrating the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations. It's an event that will be held on these same grounds, rekindling the memories. Earlier on, we had His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta making a tour at the museum, and we were able to showcase a number of galleries, including the Pictorials Gallery, the Military Gallery, and also the Locomotives Gallery, which will play a key role to school-going children and also the future generation that would want to understand where this country started its journey to independence. How did we get ourselves from the British government to where we are today? How has the development speed taken place? And it's going to be very historical also to the family of Mama Ngina Kenyatta. This, as Mzee Jomo Kenyatta also had a house here during his stay after the struggle of independence, and he would once in a while have a meeting with Mau Mau warriors who visited the area. And we are now going to where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is set to address attendance to this major event, one of the historical destinations in the country.
The Mau Maus were enumerated. The declassified information that we got through the cabinet members also stated that the celebrations for the freedom should be in a specific place where the freedom fighters would feel this is now the place where we are going to enjoy our freedom after a long period of humiliation.
1963 marked a very important time of coming together of the peoples of Kenya, the unity that had been disrupted by the colonialism. It was agreed that it was not going to be so difficult to create a nation out of these diverse groups which had been exacerbated by colonialism, the principle of divide and rule.
Preserving our history is very, very important as a country. The first president of Botswana, Mr. Kame, saying that a country without a history is a country without a soul.
A country without memory has no future. The National Archives was established after independence in 1965. Many other countries in this region got their registrations much, much later. But our government realized the importance of having an archives. The colonial government did not have a very coherent policy on the management of our documentary heritage. And you'll also realize that quite a number of those records were also destroyed, sometimes inadvertently and sometimes deliberately. The issue of the migrated archives was paramount. And actually, the first effort was made in 1967 when the government of Kenya wrote to the Prime Minister in the UK requesting to get those records back, even if it meant copies.
The date for independence had been fixed, and a site was being cleared for a new stadium near the edge of the Nairobi National Park.
Prior to 1963, Uhuru Gardens was already a memorial park, and the idea was in 1966, it was now fully gazetted as a national memorial park. These areas were meant for memory, celebrations, and reflecting on the Kenyan identity as a nationhood. And some of the things that happened with the first president is that he planted a mugumo tree, itself having significance for the African culture. When the second president of the country took over, President Moi, 2 new monuments were put. So in 1983, the 20th celebration of Uhuru was graced, and this is one of the key icons, this big spire-like tall structure. 5 years later, the 25-year monument was put, which is really a very nicely built water fountain with lighting, part of history of the Kenya being explained in there. In 1997, towards December, the whole place was re-gazetted. The 65 acres of the Uhuru Gardens was then re-gazetted as national monument until 2003, when the National Museums of Kenya was undergoing a major reform, including reforming its own legislation that put up the National Museums of Kenya. And at that time, the third president of the country, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, had taken over. And they were very keen on the history, and they were very keen on sites and monuments, and most importantly, they were very keen on honoring the national heroes and heroines. From the task force report, we put up a cabinet memorandum and a policy paper and a draft bill on how heroes and heroines should be honored. When the 2010 Constitution was unveiled, after the first sentence that honors and acknowledges the supremacy of God, the Almighty, the next actually statement in that preamble is that we are honoring those who struggled heroically for the freedom of this country. And then it says we honor again the diversity of the cultures, religion of the people of Kenya. And then finally, respecting the environment of the country. Down the line, the National Museums of Kenya Heritage Act also came into being. That gives a lot of strength to the government and the people of Kenya to take care of their national heritage. Finally, the national heroes and heroines, which was approved during President Mwai Kibaki's time, became an act of parliament in 2014 during the fourth President Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. The 50th anniversary was actually celebrated on these grounds, and His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta addressed the nation from the Uhuru Gardens at midnight, where now Kenya at 50 was celebrated, and he gave further directions that this memorial park needs to be built.
We have been extremely fortunate to be entrusted really to be part of this process for the last 10 years of transforming this hugely significant place into a modern, into a 21st century civic district that celebrates every facet of our being as the Kenyan people.
The project, it has this layer of history and this layer of the Kenyan spirit. It comes from being a site where the Union Jack came down and the first flag of independent Kenya went up. So from this history and from subsequent significant moments like those, it becomes not just a park, but something with a higher responsibility. You're designing for people to appreciate where they came from, what their stories are, but you're also trying to do it somewhat in their voice, in our own voice as Kenyans. Some of our history has been quite difficult and quite painful. I think that acknowledgement is that first step to reconciling with this all and trying to build, a better day tomorrow. The bit that really connects to our history quite significantly is the landscape exhibition. So the landscape exhibition is a series of installations with quite a bit of artistic license. We're having a series of artists work on these installations, and each installation delves a bit into a certain aspect of our history, us as a people, or connection to the struggle, connection to independence, or a connection to even our current culture and how it's tied to our pre-colonial culture.
The National Museums of Kenya today has a collection of 11 million, which is both cultural and also natural. These collections have a lot of meaning for the country, and this is why maybe even what we are doing at Uhuru Gardens today is an opening for further things that are to come in terms of showcasing what Kenya has. The Kenyan flag that was raised in 1963 is just one among the 11 million. This is the flag that actually identifies the history of where we've come from in terms of colonialism and then moving forward. The first constitution and the pen are a symbol of what our pride is and what we are as a people and what we've gone through and where we've come from and maybe what we aspire to be in the future. So for us to have those items with us, it means then that history can never be erased.
It's a very significant project. It's a project that will give a sense of national entitlement, national pride. It's a project that will help sort out some of the issues that we are dealing with as a country. It's a project that is 360 degrees addressing matters to do with culture, matters to do with the nature, and matters to do with history. It's a cocktail of all that put together and told in a common fabric. It's important to realize that if we didn't do this, it meant that 20 years down the line, there's some of these things that could have been eroded or done away with.
All we are really is our heritage and how we preserve and cherish it. I foresee this project playing a very central role in not only collecting, but also restoring and preserving our material culture, our intangible culture, our heritage for posterity.
It's a symbol of our nationhood. It was the one thing that always would pull us together. That's when we became part of the community of nations. So it has a very special place in our history, in our souls, in our hearts, and should always portray the best, the best that we have, the best of our culture, of our heritage, of our creativity, of our innovation, our aspirations and our hopes for now, for the future.
renewing and improving our civic district, our sacred place as a people, has brought in the entire government working in a very coordinated way under the leadership of the Kenya Defence Forces, who are the primary protectors of our sovereignty. This project is about protecting the sovereignty of the peoples of Kenya. And I think it is apt, it is right that the Kenya Defence Forces is leading the entire government to realize this for the people of Kenya.
Your Excellency, sir, distinguished guests, sir, kindly allow me to make two announcements before I invite the CDF to make his remarks. I am kindly requesting that all of us to be seated when we shall have completed the session of the speeches, so as to allow His Excellency and our guests to get out of the hall fast. Sir, after the speeches, we shall have a fireworks display, and therefore the order of us to get out of the hall will be His Excellency, followed by our guests, and the distinguished guests here, Mama, then the rest of us will follow. We shall move out slowly in order and position ourselves facing the tomb of the unknown warrior for us to be able to view the fireworks display. Sir, at this juncture, it is my honor and duty to invite the Chief of Defence Forces to make his remarks and thereafter carry on with the rest of the program. Your Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defence Forces, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Your Excellency, the former First Lady, Cabinet Secretaries here present, distinguished guests, Your Excellency, today is indeed a great day. It's a memorable day when we, as a country, are having to celebrate this auspicious facility that has been done by Kenyans for Kenyans. 21 months ago, Your Excellency, you directed that a multi-agency committee be established under the leadership of the Kenya Defence Forces to spearhead the development of this monument. And on the 4th of August 2020, Your Excellency, you did break ground, and from then on, this team comprising of architects, engineers, soldiers, and very ordinary people coming from the areas, suburbs, have worked tirelessly to deliver these projects. I remember, sir, that you ordered that we deliver the projects in 1 year, and in particular, you wanted that the 58th Jamhuri Day be celebrated here, signifying the attainment of the initial operating capability. And truly, in December last year, we were able to celebrate the second Jamhuri Day at Uhuru Gardens. Your Excellency, today these teams are here, and I would like to thank them on your behalf for the synergy that they've shown throughout the 21 months that I've been leading the team. I also would like to thank Your Excellency because it is your inspiration and vision that has allowed us to get this far. You have personally supervised these projects. You have guided through the design stages. You have guided during the development stages. And for that, Your Excellency, we would not have achieved what we've achieved without your intervention. With those remarks, Your Excellency, let me request you to address the nation on this very auspicious occasion, as many Kenyans out there do not have an inkling of what exactly happens in this facility. But today, every Kenyan across the country will have known how much we can do as a country if we work together, focused on national interests and not individual interests. With those remarks, Your Excellency, may I request Your Excellency to address the nation. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you, CDF. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Your Excellency, President Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, our guests, and indeed our guest of honor at our celebration tomorrow of Madaraka, and to all fellow Kenyans who are here, let me begin by saying that it is a great honor for me to be able today to lead the nation as we commission the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. This monument and museum perfectly capture, I do believe, the majesty of our people, eloquently tells about their heroism, the sacrifices that led to our independence, but also that bears testimony to the highs as well as the lows that have defined post-independence Kenya. In addition to being a place for remembrance, reflection, and healing, this is also an arena where the past, present, as well as our future shall converge. Ladies and gentlemen, while our nation may have begun as a colonial construct, it was we, the people of Kenya, who decided to make the Kenyan nation we know today. We came together and forged a melting pot of cultures whose strength lies in our diversity. We have created, as a country, a beacon of peace and stability to which many across our region, our continent, and the world do flock to experience. We have built an island of democracy and the rule of law that is an example of the power of the people and the majesty of constitutional governance. This, a fact envied by many across the globe. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we unveil this monument and museum, we have set in stone, steel, marble, wood and glass, the tale of Kenya's triumphs as well as our tragedies. Yes, these are just materials, but at the end of the day, is that our rich history as a nation and the fundamental values that define us, that are just exhibited here, are eternal to each and every one of us. So this physical manifestation is something that should exist in the minds, in the hearts, as well as the memories of every Kenyan. So on this occasion, we are reminded that history does provide invaluable lessons that give context to the present. By looking back, we are better able to look forward. We cannot march boldly into our promised golden future if we do not learn from the lessons of the past and apply them to our present. So the museum that we have commissioned today will narrate every significant event in our Kenyan history, going back many, many years. A history not told by others about us, but a history gathered by Kenyans for Kenyans. It will also be a place that will commemorate our contemporary history by highlighting our national building exploits, our sporting excellence, our social political growth, as well as our groundbreaking innovations that have cemented our place of pride in the community of nations. We are, therefore, on these grounds because there could be no better venue to host such a sacred endeavor. Uhuru Gardens has been the location where many seminal moments in our nation's history have occurred, and I don't wish to enumerate them. Many of you are aware of them. But most importantly, it also commemorates the ground where the British incarcerated many of our forefathers who fought for our freedoms. And it is also here that we regain the stewardship of our nation and assume the role of being architects of our own future. It is here that an enthusiastic nation witnessed the lowering of the Union Jack and the hoisting for the very first time of the Kenyan flag, as well as the very first recital of our national anthem. So therefore, stepping on these grounds should give each one of us a sense of national duty and reinforce our patriotism as Kenyans. We are called to work together to make Kenya the very best nation that it can be. And it can be. Indeed, as our national anthem so wisely advises us, tuungane mikono pamoja kazini na kila siku tuwe na shukrani. So on these 68 acres, there will be over 20 different galleries, and we will find different sections that I believe will inspire our belief in the greatness of our nation. Today, we have started just 4 on the peoples of Kenya, the birth of Kenya, and the Military Heritage Gallery. When Kenyans walk through the Heroes Boulevard, it is my hope that their spirits will be elevated by the sacrifices that were made by those who went before them. And indeed, at the end of the boulevard, there is also the tomb of the unknown warrior, which I believe represents every man and woman, known and unknown, who has served and continues to serve this country, and also the eternal memory of all those who have paid the ultimate price for that sacrifice. In respect of the memory of these great sons and daughters of Kenya, we have had the honor of lighting the eternal flame at the tomb of the unknown warrior, and its flame will flicker until the end of time to showcase Kenya's internal gratitude for the sacrifices and the struggles of those who have gone before us. Also contained here and etched in granite will be the names of all the deceased Kenyans to whom Kenya has bestowed a state honor or award since Madaraka Day of 1967 when we started. We honor all these patriots we did during their. This section will be a place of high honor and solemn reflection, continuously manned with a guard change at dawn and dusk. The Hall of Remembrance, where we are today, or right now, will offer individuals and groups a serene place to reflect on the life and service of their departed loved ones and colleagues. But not all our galleries will speak to our pain. There will also be those galleries that speak to our heroes, to academicians, to our sportsmen and women, to our innovation. These halls will speak to the coming future and how the past has guided it through moments of great hope and national pride, and hopefully inspire new generations on a bold path for a greater future. Here, the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, we shall preserve our history, tell our story in our own voice, celebrate our people, those we have known and those who maybe previously we did not know. We shall also highlight our culture, our social diversity, as has never been done before. I am indeed proud to have midwifed the birth of this wonderful national endeavor. Nashukuru Mungu sana. An endeavor that is wholly conceived and built by Kenyans for Kenyans. And I urge every citizen to support the continuous growth of this project and to keep it alive and vibrant by visiting it, engaging with curators and administration, and actively contributing both in content and ideas. As you all can see, we are not yet finished, but the journey has started. I commend the Kenya Defense Forces leadership and all our men and women of KDF who have been part of this program. I congratulate the steering committee of the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. I congratulate all those who have been involved in this project in one way or another. The architects, the consultants, the engineers, contractors, suppliers, all partners, public servants, those from academia, our soldiers, you have all brought great pride to our nation. As I conclude, I must emphasize that the work of immortalizing the history of our nation is not the preserve of only monuments and museums. Each and every Kenyan is a living monument of the work of our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, and the work of our teachers, our pastors, priests, imams, friends, and mentors. In our every word and action, we should seek to make them proud and to show them that theirs has not and will never be struggles in vain. As this monument and museum so eloquently demonstrates, it is the duty of present generations to preserve and build upon the legacy of preceding generations for the enduring benefit of future generations. It is our individual as well as our collective responsibility to the Almighty God of all creation, who has so abundantly blessed our land and nation, to ensure that justice, will continue to be our shield and defender, and that we shall dwell in this land in unity, peace, and liberty, with plenty to be found within our borders. So, fellow Kenyans, I conclude by saying it is my high privilege and profound honor on the eve of the 59th anniversary of Madaraka Day to declare the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum inaugurated, open, and to call upon those who come to continue this great work and immortalize the past for the benefit of our future. Mungu awabariki. Asanteni sana.
Tafadhali tuketi chini wakati Mheshimiwa Rais anapoondoka. Let's have our seats, please. Tukae chini tafadhali. Tutaondoka tu kwa taratibu, tutapangana hapa nje.
President Uhuru Kenyatta making his address here at the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, this after he officially commissioned the National Monument and Museum, open now to the public, and he says that it is the responsibility of each and every Kenyan to ensure that the progress made by the country is protected and forward onward to better prosperity. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta also wants leaders to ensure that the country continues to grow in terms of development and ensure that the work that has been done by previous leaders is taken care of for the future generation. This as the country is heading to the next general elections, 70 days to the next general election. The Uhuru Gardens and the National Monument and Museum officially opened for the public. The fireworks are up, and that marks the end. The Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum, officially commissioned by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, accompanied by his Sierra Leone counterparts and a number of delegates. This marks the beginning of visitation by the public to this destination, a day to the celebration of Madaraka Day. The country will be marking the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations tomorrow, and it will be remembered as one of the most historic days, one that has commissioned the largest national monument and museum in the country. This as the country will remember that it is this same place that the Kenyan flag was first raised, and thus making the very first history on this same ground that the destination has just turned to be a tourist site, and one that will be holding various national events. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim, and this broadcast is coming to you live from the Uhuru Gardens. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta has commissioned the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum. What does this museum entail? It has a military gallery, it has pictorials gallery, it has a gallery on locomotives. This to allow Kenyans to understand more on the history of this country, and of great benefit to school-going children, teachers, and also researchers who would want to understand more on Kenyan history and way forward to development. Where did this all begin? It's begun in the month of December 1963, on the 12th day of the same month. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim, and I'll take you back for normal broadcasting. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.